Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is episode number 21 of the J Money Talks podcast. Well, how's it going, everybody? It is your host, Big J Money here, and we are doing good. It is March the 1st, it's the first day of March, and guess what? We're about to get set for March Madness. We're this close to the best time of the year, especially if you're someone who lives in the state of Kentucky and you're a basketball fan. It is college basketball's March Madness. So, February, you can go fuck yourself. April, we'll see you all now. It's March o'clock, motherfuckers. Get on the program. So yeah, other than that, basically, but yeah, college basketball is about to hit March Madness. We're almost there. We actually got a good amount of stuff going on. We've got to start. I guess we should start off into this time frame with, of course, the big situation of, sadly, of course, Tiger Woods having a very bad car accident, big single car accident. He actually had to be rescued from the jaws of life, according to LA County the LA County Sheriff's Department. He had to go through multiple surgeries involving his ankle and his legs. He is recovering. He's currently recovering from those surgeries. They end up being successful, and he's in great spirits. The question is, how long will he be out? I don't know, but it's going to be a big thing if Tiger ever plays golf again. That's a tough thing. As I'm not much of a golf fan, but I do enjoy watching Tiger Woods, especially when he plays, especially, he's a great black athlete, so, we gotta stick together. So, I just wish Tiger a great speed recovery, especially, a lot of golfers actually pay tribute to, Tiger Woods right now, as multiple golfers actually wore red for today as the time of this recording, and during the WGC Workday Open, I believe that's the golf tournament being held right now. So several golfers are actually wearing red right now. Among the players who are wearing them, Tony Finau wearing it best. He is actually wearing it best as he is wearing a red mock golf shirt, black pants, and he is wearing his Nike hat backwards. There's also a Puerto Rico championship is doing that, as the entire ground crew actually wore in tribute to Tiger. And among them is, he's actually still, Mono's red was, of course, Jason Day, Tommy Fleetwood, Cameron Champ, Sebastian Munoz, Roy McIlroy, and Patrick Reed, and John Ram, Justin Thomas both wore shave red, but it looked more pinkish color. It also says here that the among them is also a Bryson DeChambeau, and Matt Kuchar also used a Bridgestone golf ball with Tiger's name stamped on the side. Max Homa, who actually won the Genesis Invitational this Saturday and was actually awarded the tournament trophy at the Riviera Golf Club from Tiger Woods himself, actually said Saturday night he would wear honor Woods by trying to play his best. Homa did not have a red shirt, nor could he arrange to get one through various sponsorships. He was immediately scolded on social media. Among his responses on Twitter, I am contractually obligated to wear clothes with certain logos that I can't buy at a Bass Pro Shop, a Roger Dunn, a Walmart, a store, and etc. Thank you for all the options, though. Later, I mean this with zero hyperbole. This is the weirdest thing I've ever experienced on Twitter. Lol. I love Tiger more than you guys, promise. Listen to an interview from last week. Rain and Black Tomorrow doesn't prove that. A live line attempt to mimic his approach to the game does. So, there's a lot of things. My thing is, prayers up for Tiger. I'm hoping he actually does recover. If he does decide to make a comeback, that is going to be a big thing. So I hope he comes back. That's my hope, is that that Tiger actually does come back. If he does, he is actually better. Let's see. According to the issue, it is that Woods ever comminuted. Open. What is that? Comminuted. Comminuted. Open fracture. What is that? What is that? If a screen rose open from the wound, doctors call it comminuted open or compound fracture. Okay, so these are it's the same thing as a fracture, basically, but we'll just call it an open compound fracture. It's an open compound fracture. So I don't know I don't know if they just wanted me to say this, but yeah, it says here there were bones that were breaking into more in two pieces, and with breaks in the skin and the upper and lower portions of the tibia and fibula of his right leg. So those are. It says here, surgeons there place a rod into the tibia of Ritz's right leg, and they use a combination of screws and pins to stabilize the injuries to his foot and the ankle. According to Dr. Anish Mahajan, who is the chief medical officer and interim CBO of Harbor UCLA Medical Center. Mahajan said Woods also suffered trauma to the muscle and soft tissue of his right leg, which requires surgeons to release the covering of the muscles to relieve pressure due to swelling. In a statement, it did not include details about Woods' upper leg. Mahajan's in an earlier statement on Tuesday, Tiger Woods' agent Mike Steinberg said he suffered multiple injuries. The statement said Woods was awake, responsive, and recovering after surgery. When and where the accident happened, the accident occurred after 10 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday near the border of Rolling Hills Estates and Rancho Palos Verdes, about 30 miles south of downtown LA, Los Angeles. Woods was a sole occupant of a 2021 Genesis GV8 SUV at the time of the wreck. During a news conference on Tuesday, LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva said Woods was traveling northbound on Hawthorne Boulevard at a relatively greater speed than normal while descending a steep hill in an area that has a high frequency of accidents. He said there were no skid marks on the road and no signs that Woods attempted to brake. According to Villanueva, Woods' vehicle hit the center divider, destroyed a wooden "Welcome to Rolling Hills Estates" sign, and rolled over several times after crossing the two southbound lanes. The SUV hit a curb and a tree before settling several hundred feet from the road. The vehicle nearly missed hitting a utility pole. However, was not a factor, and authorities didn't immediately know how fast Woods was driving when he crashed. LA County Sheriff's Deputy Carlos Gonzalez said he sometimes stops people driving well over speed limit in the 45-mile-an-hour zone where signs warn truckers to use lower gears because of the steep grade. Villanova said there was no evidence that Woods was impaired at the scene. What was Ward's condition before he found him? Salas initially arrived at the scene and found Woods struggling to get out of his SUV. He said Woods was wearing a seatbelt and was conscious and alert. I spoke to him. I wondered what his name was. He told me his name was Tiger, and at that moment I immediately recognized him. Said Woods was able to answer questions about what day it was and where he was. Tiger was able to speak to me loudly. Added that Woods appeared to be incredibly calm, probably because he was in shock. Because of the damage to the front end of the vehicle and the fact that the SUV was lying on its side, the responders had to extricate Woods from the car through its windshield. LA County Fire Department Chief Darrell Osby said responders had used a pry bar and an axe to remove the windshield and pull Woods to safety. However, the Villanova added that the airbags deployed in the cab of the SUV was still intact, which allowed Woods a cushion to survive a crash. I will say that it's very fortunate that Mr. Woods was able to come out of this alive. On said Woods was able to stand under his own power, so responders moved him from the scene on a backboard. Woods was alert enough to ask responders to call his manager to retrieve his golf clubs and luggage. Villanova said it would take days to several weeks for investigators to complete their investigation into the crash. They were retrieving video from traffic cameras to determine whether another car or an animal caused Woods' car to leave the road. Data might also be extracted from the car's computer system to determine how fast Woods was driving at the time of the wreck. While Woods was in LA, Woods made an appearance but did not play over the weekend at the Genesis Invitational. His invitation helps organize and host the tournament. Woods remained in LA area to film outtakes and scenes for the Discovery-owned Golf TV, a streaming entity in which he was involved. In a statement, Golf TV said Woods was filming on-course instruction for a series. Okay. So here on Monday, he worked with actor David Spade, former NBA player Dwayne Wade, and actress Jada Pinkett Smith at Rolling Hills Country Club. Woods was scheduled to work with LA Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert and New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees on another shoot on Tuesday, and he was actually heading to there from a nearby resort. Okay. So what does it say right now? Okay, here's a big thing here. It said here that, because the biggest thing was involved in this was that during a TV interview with CBS announcer Jim Nantz during Sunday's final round of the Invitational, Woods said that he was actually planning on hoping to play in the Masters in April. He is, of course, a 5-time winner event. Most recently was the 2019 Masters, which was the 2019 Masters. Woods said in an interview, "God, I hope so. I've got to get there first. A lot of it is based on my surgeons and doctors and therapists and making sure I do it correctly. This is the only bag I've got. I don't have much time. I don't have much more wiggle room left." What Tiger Woods' last official start was actually at the 2020 Masters, which was played in November after being postponed from its typical April date because of the COVID-19 pandemic. He tied for 38th, and Woods was in the 50th in the world ranking after playing only 9 times that season. And he played, his last public golf event was the PNC Championship, where he played with his 12-year-old son, Charlie Woods. So, what do we see here right now? It looks like this is going to be a long recovery. And he's already dealing with back injuries, multiple back injuries. As he said, that there's not much room to, make moves. He actually went his 5th back procedure on December the 23rd to alleviate pain and discomfort. So who knows how much more he has left. Who knows? I want him to come back, but it's, as much as I want Tiger to come back, it looks like this could, I'm not saying this could be the end of Tiger's career, but it is very close. Also, let me make sure, since it's just for the interest of full disclosure on the report, this report was written by ESPN senior writer Mark Schlabach. For ESPN. So, ESPN report, and also the same the other report was by ESPN senior writer Bob Herrick. So, I want to at least get that sources in there. So, yeah, I think this is gonna be a long recovery for Tiger. I want him to come back into this. I want him to get healed. To heal, but if there's a chance he can't play again, all I can say is thank you, Tiger, for at least. All I can say is this Tiger is just, I say, hope he gets back. I hope he gets healthy again, and if he does make a comeback, it would be probably one of the biggest comebacks in sports, especially coming through an accident as crazy bad is this? So, who knows? I would love to see Tiger golf again, but it's going to be rare to come back. So, who knows? But, who knows? Just like how I came into this world, never say never. So, let's move on to the big story, big story, which is college basketball. And we got, so let's start with probably the first I guess the first big thing is this Saturday. Let's start off with, of course, this shirt says Louisville. We got the Louisville Cardinals going to Cameron, North Carolina, go into Cameron and take on those pesky Duke Blue Devils. Taking on the Duke Blue Devils in Cameron. Empty court, and first half for Louisville was actually pretty good. Was actually pretty good. As the Blue Devils trying to extend their late season win streak to four, and to four. Their late season win streak to 4 games, and 4 games. Louisville coming out the gate strong in the first half, actually getting a great boost from Louisville coming out the gate actually pretty good starting off back and forth until we actually get to the first. Back and forth. Big dunk was actually dunk by David Johnson in the game in the first half with a 19-17 breakaway around a 10-11 minute mark in the first half, and eventually it led to a back and forth with Louisville on a J.J. Traynor jumper by J.J. Traynor. Carly Jones dunk, followed by a jumper by Matthew Hurt. Actually, Carly Jones hitting a big free with an assist by Samuel Williamson, which made Louisville have a lead of 26-19 lead, and it came to actually start moving up. Louisville would actually extend the lead to a double-digit lead after a David Johnson dunk, a Malik Williams free, which gave Louisville the lead going to halftime, a double-digit lead, just to end the first half. And the first half on a 10-point lead. Second half, we go with Louisville. Second half, Louisville ended up leading 12 at most. And then here comes Duke starting to come and making it through. Actually, starting to at least end up tying the game off a Jeremy Roach jumper. Starting off with a bucket to start off at 40-28, having a 10-point lead with a Samuel Williamson dunk, all you by David Johnson, and here comes Duke, as Matthew Hurt would hit a 3-pointer to bring us down to 9, and then Mark Williams making a jumper to going on pretty much a 7-0 run, making a 7-0 run in the 7-0 run from 1750 to within a 2-minute stretch to actually cut the lead down to 7. Louisville would make 2 free throws, make it 42-35, and then DJ Stewart makes a free to cut the lead to 4, and then a German breakfield jumper would actually make it a 40-40 game, cut the lead to 2, and also and one with a free throw to cut the lead to 1. What's at least it would be a back and forth. It comes up Louisville It brings it up. Duke would actually end up tying the game 44-all by a Jeremy Roach jumper. Jumper with the assist by Jordan Goldwire. Ready to tie the game. Carly Jones. And then, of course, Radford grad transfer. Carly Jones would actually make a great layup to break the tie. And then a Dre Davis layup later on to actually give him a 48-44 lead. And then Louisville would make a 6-0 run. Like a 6-0 run. And then here comes, but Matthew Hurd would actually end up taking charge of this game with a 2, by cutting lead to 4, cutting lead to 3 off an and 1 jumper and free throw. And this would be anytime Louisville would respond with points, Matthew Hurt for Duke would actually start making points and taking control. In fact, Matthew Williams scored the next 5 points after a Samuel Williamson dunk by assisted by Quinn Zielinski. Here comes Matthew Hurd would take over the game from 52-47. Matthew Hurd would make a layup off of a Jeremy Roach jump miss free. Is free, and a foul by Williamson to actually get a free throw, which would break a free throw. Duke down 2 off of a block by Matthew Hurd himself. Off a pass from the Moore Jr. Matthew Hurd would make a free to give Duke the 1 point advantage. The 1 point advantage. So a 6-0 run would then get extended to an 8-0 run, as Matthew Hurd would make two free throws. But Carly Jones would come back to actually make 2 of his own. Duke calls timeout on a 1 point game. Duke calls a timeout with less than 7 minutes left in the half. After the second half, Duke timeout. After a pretty much free back and forth turnovers in the span of pretty much in less than a minute. Last one caused by Wendell Moore off of a steal by Carly Jones, and would eventually by a jumper by Samuel Williamson to give Duke the lead. Then Matthew Hurd coming back 20 seconds later, next possession for Duke. Matthew Hurd makes a layup his own. He actually scored 37 in this half. He actually scored 37 points in this game, and made 37 points in this game. 37 points, 7 rebounds in this game. And played 43 minutes in general. As this game went to overtime. Actually, this game went to overtime. And this was a back and forth, my friend. And this was indeed a back and forth throughout this game, especially second half. If you heard, let's see. We're getting to this. This is getting at least starting to get a little intense, but Louisville would start putting the burners on after the layup by Carly. After Matthew Hurd layup, as Samuel Williamson makes a layup, we get back into pretty much a deadlock, pretty much a back and forth trading lead. But Williamson making a layup off the assist by Carly Jones. Jumper. And Samuel Williamson eventually get 2 free throws by a foul by Matthew Hurd. Foul. And then this would be a 3-point lead leading into the last timeout. Next, after a TV timeout, Carly Jones would make a jumper, miss. Actually, offensive rebound by Jalen Livers, but there would be a foul on Wendell Moore, and Jalen and the big freshman would make two free throws. To give Louisville a 5-point lead with 3 minutes left in this game. A little over 3 minutes left in this game. After two. Next possession for Duke. DJ Stewart would miss a free, and would be offensive rebound by Wendell Moore Jr. Hurt would get fouled by Dre Davis, and would miss the first free throw, then make the second one. To cut the lead to 4, take the lead down to 4. After a big back and forth game, it would be a foul. There would by Jim Lewis would go to the free throw line, make one. Lee would be down 3. Mostly a lot of free throws. Mostly 2 fouls by Dre Davis would put Jeremy Roach and Matthew Hurt go to the line. Both men making each one free throw. At least got the lead to 3. Then a foul on Samuel Williamson would actually put DJ Stewart for free throw line, make 2 free throws, and cut the lead down to 1. Louisville takes timeout, less than 2 minutes left. After a timeout, Carly Jones would make a jumper, bring the lead up to 3. Less than a minute and 17 left. After 11 and 17 seconds left, it would be a board of attrition as Jalen Livers would cause a foul, which brings Wendell Moore to the free throw line would cut the lead down to 1. Next possession, Louisville's possession. Jones tries to hit a jumper, misses, rebounded by Duke, and it will be a foul on David Johnson, which brings Wendell Moore Jr. to the line. Which he makes both of them and gives Duke the 1-point lead. Last chance for Louisville. Last chance for Louisville and a half. Carly Jones with possession would get fouled, would cause a foul on Wendell Moore, and Carly Jones would go to the line. He makes the first free throw, and then the second one. The second one he ends up missing, but Jalen Livers would get the offensive rebound, and Carly Jones with the last chance to at least end the game. Call game, and misses a jumper with 2 seconds left, and we would get some bonus basketball. 65 all, and let's just say Louisville would win the jump ball, start the extra period, and let's just say that Quinn Zielinski, sophomore, would hit a three-pointer with an assist by Williamson, and let's just say Louisville never trailed the rest of this game. Would never trail the rest of this game. Carly Jones would score 7 of his 25 points in overtime. The big man, Jalen Livers, the freshman big man, would actually get an and one in overtime, with a big and one overtime, I'm assuming on a putback, which was in a putback. Let me see, on a put. Let's see, and this would be all Louisville rest of the game. Louisville's game, rest of the game. Now, where is this going to now? Now, it was probably... the overall series with Louisville, Duke has the edge 10-9, but in this little thing between these two college blue bloods, Louisville has won 3 straight in this season. In fact, I'm not into this 4-game win streak that Duke had. Actually, 4-game win streak. Duke was trying to go for 5 in this one. Duke actually, if you heard, it was on a late season here, entering Saturday's game with an average of 20.8 points during the win streak. Now Louisville on Wednesday hosts will be going to Virginia Tech, and then close the regular season out by hosting number 15 ranked Virginia this upcoming Saturday. And Duke will actually visit to Georgia Tech on Tuesday, and then host their rival North Carolina on Saturday, the following Saturday. So we have two games left. Louisville has 2 games left against a great Virginia Tech team, who I believe they last played. It came down to which was actually a close one between the two teams, with Louisville winning 73-71, and that was on a Wednesday night, January 6th game. And then Louisville will actually face off against Virginia. I think this is the first, which I think this is the, we actually haven't, this is probably, I think this is actually the one time that Louisville and Virginia is playing this year, which is actually surprising. Usually you see these two teams play twice. So this is actually the one game for Virginia, and came into this preseason as the number 1 team. But Virginia actually is coming off a 3-game losing streak to FSU, Duke, and North Carolina State, So this is a big game. So for Virginia, who is coming in, will be playing Miami prior to this game. So this is going to be a big game for both. So for Louisville, they actually have they're coming into this right now Louisville would be the 4 seed If they win this game over Virginia, they would beat Virginia Tech and beat Virginia Tech, and if Louisville beats both Virginia Tech and Virginia, I think that would actually ensure them the 3 seed, I believe, in the ACC conference tournament, which also ensures them. Also, they would secure a double bye into that one. For Duke, they actually go into the 8th. They are now an 8th seed. They would probably get a single bye in this one. Would get the single bye into this tournament. Into this one. Now let's go over to Kentucky, and Kentucky would actually need a big win here to keep their season, to at least keep their hopes for the season, with hosting Florida, and this is actually going to be the first. And actually, this one's going to be a big one for Florida as for Kentucky. And actually, this one is kind of a. Let's go into probably this first one here. Let's see where we go into here. Let's see. In this game, there was actually a large amount of lead changes. It had 14 lead changes in this game. 9 times this game was tied. A majority of them came in the second half. Neither team of this led by more than 4 points in each game. And this one was a big. Last time, this is the second meeting. This is Florida ended up losing to Kentucky 76-58 on January the 9th. And this is actually going to be. And Florida actually picked up the 5th season split in the series history. The last time this happened was in 1998. This win was just the 11th win for Florida at Lexington versus 52 losses, which is actually surprising. Let's see, halfway through the first half, Kentucky actually had a 10-point lead after an 8-0 run, and would ended up blowing that 10-point lead and reclaimed it with a 39-38 halftime lead with baskets by both Keon Brooks and Davion Mintz. Davion Mintz tied a career high with 21 points. The team, Brandon Boston Jr. would have 13 points, and both Isaiah Jackson and Jacob Toppin would each have 11 points apiece for Kentucky, which snapped a 3-game win streak for them. Isaiah Jackson had 3 of Kentucky's 6 blocks to quote Kentucky. The big portion of for Florida's the big thing for Florida was that Florida leading scorer was Colin Caston was Trey Mann with 21 points. The 14 of them scored in the second half. Second half. And this is Colin Caston would score 14 points. Josh Appleby scored 11 points, and he had a wide open 3-pointer with 3.5 minutes remaining in the game to actually help put the Gators ahead for good at 65-63 in that game. And neither team would make an actual score until Trey Mann's baseline jumper with 1:49 left to go. Gators would actually cut the lead twice with 2 free throws, especially 2 free throws by Trey Mann with 10.5 seconds remaining in the game. Anthony Drugi scored 10% for 4, and the team shot from 53% from the court and made 7 of 15 from the arc, which helped them overcome a big disparity at the free throw line, where they made 14 out of 16 free throws compared to 25 of 29 free throws for Kentucky. For Kentucky, Florida is going to be hosting Missouri on Wednesday, and before completing their regular season against Tennessee, heading up to Knoxville to take on Tennessee on March the 7th. And Kentucky is going to be against Mississippi Ole Miss on Tuesday, and then host South Carolina next Saturday. That, and considering those 2 games left right now, it is for Kentucky. They're actually kind of winnable because Ole Miss is actually 13-10. The last time, let's see, when did Kentucky play Ole Miss? Is this a one-time thing, or is this a second? Okay, so this is one game that Kentucky and Ole Miss are playing, and the game between South Carolina and Kentucky is, I believe, the second time they're playing against each other. So these are both games that South Carolina and Kentucky haven't played against each other yet. So these two games seem to be a winnable thing, but for Kentucky to at least need a couple games to at least build themselves at. The win here actually put Florida as the free seed in the SEC tournament, and this loss here put Kentucky as currently the 8th seed in this conference tournament. So it is right now for Kentucky not looking very good. So not looking very good for Kentucky right now, because Kentucky So right now, Kentucky is kind of struggling right now. I say this, for Kentucky, unfortunately, you guys are struggling plenty. And I feel kind of bad for y'all right now. Kind of. I don't know. Do I feel bad for y'all? Should I feel bad for Kentucky? I don't know. But who knows? I don't know. I just feel it. I will have something planned for Kentucky. Kentucky fans, I will have something planned for y'all very soon. So let's just say it's going to be funny. Something funny and something fun for me. But I'll talk about that another time. But so let's go into look at Western Kentucky right now. Western Kentucky is actually at the time we're actually recording this, Western Kentucky just beat Florida International 91-58 right now, which ends up moving the toppers to a 16-5 record overall, 9-2 in ECC Conference USA play. Currently leading the East Division of the Conference USA with a 9-2 record. With a 9-2 record. With a 9-2 record. 9 record. They actually play. Western Kentucky will be playing against Florida International again tomorrow at 1 p.m. And then they have a 2-game set with Old Dominion on both March the 5th and 6th to close out their season. And before we get into the conference tournament, I'm not sure. Let's see, where is. So like that is going to be the big question going into this. And currently they are somehow they're actually surprisingly on the bubble, which is actually somehow, according to a lot of people, a lot of experts, they're actually on the last 4 in somehow, surprisingly, which is actually on the last 4 in, which is, I kind of don't know how that is, why that is the big thing. I don't know why they would put them in that area, which I think is kind of a question, which I kind of question that situation going on, but it's I'm just saying that in terms of someone who is actually, but that is actually a big question there. Yeah, right now Louisville is they in the terms of the current state of the conference right now, Western Kentucky is looking like the favorite, is going to be heading into this tournament in their Conference USA tournament as the number 1 seed as of this current time frame, as we are currently heading into it. Now let's look into Bellarmine, who is going to be coming into this tournament, who just came out of this, just lost to who actually just lost to a Liberty team 94-78, and as a result of it would actually capture the Atlantic Sun Conference championship, regular season championship, over Bellarmine. And Bellarmine, for a nice Pedro Bradshaw would get 20 points and 4 steals for a nice, whose 10-game winning streak came to an end. Dylan Penn added 17 points, and CJ Fleming added 16 points. So right now, Bellarmine is going into this as the 2 seed, and right now is going to have first round play. He's going to have first round play in Jacksonville, and they are going to be taking on Stetson in the quarterfinals, which starts this Thursday, March 4th at 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Next, let's go into, let's see where, I don't remember which conferences. Not Horizon League. Well, actually, Horizon League has Northern Kentucky. They are actually going to be competing. Actually, Horizon League. The Horizon League's conference tournament is underway. They are in the quarterfinal stages. On Tuesday, Northern Kentucky is actually taking on Detroit Mercy in the quarterfinals of the Progressive Horizon League tournament. They are hosting Detroit Mercy in their game in our quarterfinals at BB&T Arena, which is at 7 o'clock this Tuesday, which is at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Plus as well. Next, let's go into what was the? I'm sorry, I'm trying to find a. Let's go into the Ohio Valley Conference right now. Morris State is actually Morris State. Looking into Morehead State, who are going to host first or going to be competing in first round play. Actually, where first round play is about to happen We have Southeast Missouri State taking on Morris State in the first round play on March the 3rd at 10:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. And then we have Murray State going up against, and then the next two games between Murray State is taking on Jacksonville State in the first round of play. And then we have Eastern Kentucky taking on Austin P in first round action on Thursday, March 4th. And their season off, Eastern Kentucky won 89-84 over Tennessee State. Missouri State loses to Tennessee Tech 71-61, and Morehead State actually won in overtime over Belmont 89-82, heading into their March Madness, heading into their conference championship games. So right now, one of my thoughts right now going into this situation with pretty much what is my thoughts going into right now? There is a lot of game played right now. Right now, there's a lot of moves going in. Let's look into other action, into other games. Indiana ended up getting mollywopped by Michigan, third-ranked Michigan, 73-57. Texas Tech ends up beating Texas 68-59 in a big top 20 and a big top 20 matchup between the two big teams. Auburn gets the upset over Tennessee 77-72. Upset over there. The American East playoffs actually is going on right now with the first round as UMass Lowell beat Stony Brook 64-62. Let's look at the overs. Illinois would end up beating Wisconsin 74-69. Fifth ranked Illinois taking on 23rd ranked Wisconsin in a big Big Ten battle. Arkansas, 20th ranked Arkansas beats LSU 83-75. And American East playoff action, Hartford would beat Binghamton 77-60. Hampton would beat Presbyterian in a close game 67. Hampton, Presbyterian 65. Oklahoma State would end up beating the Sooners. The Oklahoma State Cowboys beating the Sooners in overtime with Cade Cunningham, the freshman star, scoring 40 points, 10 of them in overtime to help the Cowboys win over the Sooners. 94 or 90. It was Devion Hartman for Oklahoma led the team with 23 points. West Virginia hosting Kansas State. I'm sorry, I cannot talk right now. But West Virginia would end up beating Kansas State 65-43 in Big 12 play. In North Carolina hosting Florida State, 11th ranked Florida State, and in a big game for North Carolina to at least get big game for North Carolina. North Carolina would end up winning that game 78-70 and would give head coach Roy Williams his 900th career victory. Virginia Tech would beat Wake Forest 84-46. And then we go into the Mountain West Conference with San Diego State winning in a game over Boise State. For San Diego State wins 10 straight games, currently ranked 22nd in the nation, and a 62-58 win over the Broncos. In Pac-10, well play, we got Oregon beating Carolina 74-63. And 63. Xavier would end up getting an upset over Creighton and in a big way, which would help them out in their tournament hopes. And in Cincinnati, in a big game in Cincinnati, 77-69. 69. Back to the America East Conference playoffs. First round action, Albany would defeat NJIT 76-66 to 66. 66. 66. Alabama would secure their SEC regular season championship with a big victory over Mississippi State, 64-59. Siobhan Quintley would lead with 19 points, and Jaden Shackelford would score 10 of his 15 points in the second half to actually clinch that championship, the first for the Crimson Tide since 2002. Loyola Chicago would end up clinching their Missouri Valley Conference regular season championship, as they end up beating Southern Illinois 65-58 in overtime. Sorry, let me scratch my eyes for a second. I'm trying to at least adjust my eyes here. Kansas, Baylor in Big 12 action, and number 17 Kansas would, as second ranked Baylor, would come in undefeated at 18-0. Well, let's just say this. And to say they are not gonna have a streak have a big streak like the Underdog, because 17th ranked Kansas would play host to them and would play spoiler on them. Spoilered as they actually spent. Because actually, this was actually most of the stretch. This is actually, I think, one of Baylor's first competitions after a 3-week stretch of COVID-19 shutdowns, of postponements and shutdowns, and shutdowns taking place. So in pretty much one of Baylor's first games, outside of their game, the second game for Baylor, Kansas would actually have a big time W, would actually have a great big 3-week streak of winning 5 straight games, and actually before taking a Texas game to the brink in overtime on the road. And this would be a game and as a result, Baylor would actually have to wait a few days before claiming their first Big 12 title since 1950. My goodness, over 70 years. My goodness. Jeez, that's almost as old as my father. Jeez, that drive is just as old as my father. Jeez. Oh. And let's see this here. There, let's see. Okay, let's see here. And actually, Kansas is 2,000 fans in front of a roughly 2,600 attendance crowd at Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence. Utah would get an upset over USC, 19th ranked USC, 71-61. 61. And then Gonzaga would continue to be the undefeated number 1 team by beating Loyola Marymount 86-69. 69 in Spokane. Big name games that were postponed this season due to COVID on multiple games. Most notable was Missouri 24th ranked Missouri taking on Texas A&M, who I believe is still still having troubles with their COVID-19 issues and multiple postponements among them. Stanford and the Citadel, Delaware and Towson, Temple versus UCF, San Jose State versus Wyoming, Florida Gulf Coast and Kansas State, East Carolina versus Tulsa, Grambling and Arkansas Pine Bluff, postponed. Monteverse, including Norfolk State and Howard being canceled for this game. Today, as of this recording right now, we got multiple games going on right now. That's taking place right now. Let's go into the quarterfinals as Hartford actually beats Albany 83-77. UMass Lowell would actually advance further into the semifinals, beating New Hampshire 72-64. Butler would actually get the upset over Villanova 73-61 earlier today. Right now, at halftime, Iowa would actually take on Iowa and Ohio State in a big top 10 matchup in the Big Ten. Is at halftime right now with Iowa leading 42-28 over the Buckeyes. Buckeyes right now, Houston is taking on South Florida right now and is blowing them out 75-38 with 11:39 left in the second half. And ACC action, we have NC State taking on Pittsburgh 41-31 and with less than 15 minutes left in the second half. Memphis would beat Cincinnati 80-74. Norfolk would actually beat St. Mary, Maryland 72-51. 4 a.m. Maryland would actually beat Michigan State 73-55 in a big game. Here. And let's see. What's next? Going into any big things. Right now, the Big South is about to, I believe Big South is actually beginning their conference tournament in their quarterfinal action with Winthrop taking on High Point. Winthrop is 20-1 this season. And then Gardner-Webb is taking on Campbell. We'll be playing against Campbell. Then we have Longwood and UNC Asheville playing. Both games is at 7 o'clock. High Point and Winthrop is at 6. Same as Hampton and Radford. It's at 6. All of them on ESPN Free, ESPN Plus, on big games is Oklahoma taking on Oklahoma State at 9 p.m. Monday. 9 p.m. tomorrow. And North Carolina takes on Syracuse at 7 p.m. Syracuse hosting North Carolina in this game. And then Virginia takes on Miami Monday. Tuesday, we have Baylor and West Virginia going at it. This game was postponed multiple times. It was a big game that was postponed multiple times. And is going to be taking place. And Baylor have a chance to win the Big 12 championship there. Arkansas takes on South Carolina. Illinois and Michigan pretty much takes place. Winner is probably more than likely winning going to be winning the Big Ten championship. Winning to this might be one of the teams who win the Big Ten championship. Alabama takes on Auburn. Texas takes on Iowa State. Texas Tech takes on TCU. The Horizon League is going into their quarterfinal rounds. Be going into their conference tournament with their quarterfinal rounds. Wednesday, we're actually starting to get into that big time tournament tournament rounds, guys. So we're starting to get there. Oh, next is going to be the first round of the Patriot League tournament on Wednesday. Will be the first round of the Patriot League and the Atlantic 10 championships. Atlantic 10 championship. Let's see. Thursday, we'll have the Big South Championship semifinals. And then the second round of the Atlantic 10 championship going on. The Atlantic Sun Championship quarterfinals is going to be taking place. And then we start off with the Missouri Valley Conference. It's going to start off their first round coming into this one. We're coming in, moving forward. Also, the West Coast Conference tournament as well. Supposed to be getting the first round on Thursday. So we're actually getting close. To March Madness. We're very close to March Madness conference tournament time. Everything is starting to take place and take shape. So we got a lot of things coming. Ladies and gentlemen. Alright, we're going to go ahead, take a quick commercial break. We've already talked about this for an hour. When we come back, we're going to go into the NFL free agency news and predictions. Next, we're actually going to talk about the Pokemon Gen 4 remakes and the Pokemon Arceus Legends game, will probably break into something I actually haven't talked about much which I actually want to break through, and that is the Mortal Kombat movie trailer and my thoughts on the trailer. And I actually got to make some announcements, especially speaking of pretty much March Madness. I thought I'm going to make some announcements about how to do a March Madness bracket challenge when it comes out. A March Madness bracket challenge, and also some personal stuff that I'm going to be talking about with you guys for the next couple months, which actually, because some big news I want to share with y'all, and since I'm with y'all, I want to keep being real with y'all. So we'll actually get into that. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with all that good stuff in a moment. You're watching the J Money Talks podcast on YouTube and SoundCloud. This is episode 21, y'all. We will be right back after these commercial messages. Alright, guys, before we go into this next video, before we get into the next segment, I actually want to at least give you a little shout out to you guys. Guys, we're about to get into an era where probably COVID restrictions are going to get a little looser, probably. Who knows? Hopefully to get loosened up by summertime, where it's more fun, where we can actually go out, where we can go outside, hit up the pool parties, the beaches, see the honeys in bikinis, and come out looking shredded. Some of us have gone to gyms. Some of the gyms have been loosened up. Some gyms have already opened. Some gyms may have loosened up the restrictions a little bit. You can go to the gym and exercise more. One of the things is, if you want to get shredded, you gotta get you some supplements. One of the things I recommend, Final Boss, baby. I've probably mentioned this on this channel before. Final Boss Performance, especially the pre-workout, which I say is probably the best pre-workout you will ever have. It has that strong, clean energy. You get that increased laser-like focus in there. You get increased nitric oxide production, which not only helps out with your muscles, building those muscles. Especially, look at this right here. Look at these arms. Seriously, take at least a scoop of this every day, and I'm in there clanging, banging, getting my muscles growing. Look at this. See this? This is actually progress right now. See this? This is progress. These forearms, that's progress right here. And increased muscle endurance. And speaking of nitric oxide, not only does it help you build that muscle, let's just say it kind of also helps out your little muscle down below. Especially if you are trying to, say, that fun buddy cardio with a honey. If you meet someone at the gym and let's just say you want to bring her back to the crib for a little buddy cardio, you know what I'm talking about that. You know what I'm talking about? Come on now. That's get you some of that Final Boss Pre. Get you Final Boss Pre. Get you the aminos, which I don't put it in. I actually just put 2 scoops in that in, like, say, a gallon jug. That helps you keep it clean. Helps you drink your water. Helps you drink water better. Helps you build that muscle, that lean muscles. Also get their Final Boss greens, which I actually put in a scoop in a thing of Power Zero, shake it up, and I drink that thing, and it helps me out a lot. That is a good thing that helps me out a lot. Also, if that doesn't sound appealing to you, you can also put in your put the greens powder in your orange juice, in, like, say it's a cup of orange juice, and drink that up, which I used to do sometimes in the mornings myself. So they also got protein powder. They also got a protein powder, which I need to get myself eventually, but also I have a ton of protein powder I need to use up soon. So I got some protein powder I actually need to use up very, very soon. Next we got also got Final. Then they're actually coming out with I have an anabolic protein bar themselves, actually, which I actually will probably do a reaction to thoughts and review on the channel when it is ready, when they launch. So keep an eye on that in the future in this video. Next, and they also got some supplements which helps support you. That helps support, like, your liver, your kidneys, your heart, and stuff when you're either doing a steroid cycle or when you're coming off a steroid cycle, which actually you should try out yourself, which helps out as well. They have a variety of things there. Check out finalbossperformance.com if you want to check out all this stuff. And if you also check out their apparel, which is Final Boss Athletics. They have a ton of apparel, like tank tops, joggers, like just 3/4 sleeves, which are pretty much long sleeves, technically, and a bunch of other things. Check them out. Check out finalbossperformance.com and Final Boss Athletics. Shout outs to them. They have seriously, this stuff has helped me out throughout their some of this stuff has helped me out help me keep in shape, and help me out with losing weight. So far, which helped me out with my weight loss, especially when I've done especially during the cut to get into the Scorpion costume at Halloween, which is been a great part of it. So shout outs to them. Now let's get back to the show. Right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with episode 21 of the JMA Talks podcast. We got some more stuff coming to y'all. Let me get you. The next step is to talk about NFL free agency. It is actually coming up very, very soon. We gotta go into that. And also, I know another thing is also, of course, another conversation topic is probably going to be like the tags and franchise tags and all that stuff. So let's start off with some of the big news right now. The Houston Texans actually have released running back Duke Johnson and center Nick Martin. On Friday, this Friday, he is going to have a dead cap. And Nick Martin, it looks like it says here, the NFLPA is telling agents to collude, quote unquote, collude on offers to ensure teams are not limiting salaries with reduced cap. According to NFL Executive Director DeMaurice Smith, told NFL player agents firstly that they should work together during the upcoming free agency period to ensure that teams aren't taking advantage of the reduced 2021 salary cap to limit player salaries. According to a source who was on this video conference, told ESPN, speaking of on a video conference, which replaced the annual all-agent seminar the NFLPA holds each year at the Scan Combine at Indianapolis. Smith told the agents that the union expects the cap to be very close to the $180 million floor, which is negotiated by the NFL and the NFLPA, and that the 2022 and 2023 caps could be affected as well by the pandemic-related revenue losses that resulted in this year's cap reduction. Because of that, Smith said agents this year should push back on teams trying to cut players for cap reasons and should consult with one another with the NFLPA's cap department on the offers they're receiving from teams and for free agent players. The source relayed Smith's message to ESPN and said Smith told the agents it was okay for them to, quote-unquote collude in free agency in order to destroy the best possible deals for players. Now, collusion, of course, is, of course, an illegal corporate practice which these teams are prohibited from engaging, but there are no laws and rules against the workers, in this case the players, exchanging information about who's offering how much. And that kind of information can only help agents know more about what's out there in terms of potential destinations and deals. Smith began his remarks by telling the agents that things would look much grimmer right now had the players not ratified the new collective bargaining agreement 1 year ago. No, the source said, without a CBA in place, Smith says that the league would be looking at a cessation of operations in a couple weeks when the league year ends, and the owners would have no motivation to negotiate a new deal, much less mitigate the 2021 revenue losses by artificially raising the salary cap floor. With CBA in place, last year the union was in a position to negotiate the terms of the COVID-influenced 2020 season. As part of that negotiation, the league and the union agreed that this year's salary cap would be no lower than $175 million per team, even if the revenue projections on which the cap is annually based indicated that it should be lower. Last week, the league and the union actually agreed to raise that cap floor from 175 to 180 million, with the final figure still to come. Smith said the final figure likely depends on the outcome of a new TV contracts the league is negotiating, but based on the information the NFLPA has, expects that the final figure be significantly lower from last year's 198.2 million. Also says future caps will be affected because the league and the union have agreed to quote-unquote borrow from those caps to offset this year's reduction. Since the 2021 cap won't have dropped as much as it would have without the negotiated floor, the difference between the 2021 cap is and what it could have been will need to be applied to future caps. So the league and the union have already agreed to negotiate the difference out of the 2022 salary cap, and the 2023 cap could be affected as well, since the union is pressing to spread those losses out over as many years as possible instead of dealing with them all at once. Smith also told the agents that the 2021 offseason program will have to be collectively bargained between the league and the union, as the 2021 offseason program was, because of the ongoing threat of COVID-19. Last year, all OTA and minicamps were held virtually, and training camp, though it started on time, was structured with significant COVID-inspired changes. It's unclear how similar the 2021 season will be to the 2020 offseason, but Smith told the agents Thursday that all aspects of the season except for the draft would be subject to collective bargaining. So there's going to be a big thing there going on here. Of course, big free agency news is that Russell Wilson is okay with the Seahawks, but he is considering making four moves to four destinations, which is somehow there are four big teams that wants to make a trade, which is the Chicago Bears, the Dallas Cowboys, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the New Orleans Saints. There's other cases that he also wants to go to the Miami Dolphins, New York Jets as well, which is actually interesting. Which is quite interesting. It looks like Sean Watson pretty much had a conversation, met with the concessions coach David Cawley, and he still is interested in being traded. That he wants to be traded, and that he has no intention of pursuing up for his team. He is willing. That Wilson is believed to actually be wanting to be traded, and is willing to hold out on this contract. It says here if Watson gets traded, it will cost the Texans $21.6 million in dead cap against the salary cap this year. which will be a significant hit because his cap number, if he's on the team, is just $15.94 million. And it says here that actually right now, if they get Sean Watson, the team will Watson is actually scheduled to earn $10.54 million in salary this year before the big extension hits, where he gets $35 million in 2022, $37 million in 2023, and then $32 million each in 2024 and 2025. So it looks like now he says here, if the Texans draft, see, it says here, if the Texans choose to not trade Watson, Watson can opt out not to report to mandatory team activities or training camp, but it comes at a cost. Houston can fine Watson $95,877 for missing minicamp, and can fine him $50,000 a day for each day of training camp missed, plus 1 week's salary, which is $620,000 for each preseason game missed. So, in the unlikely scenario that Watson chooses to retire, which that is a surprise. That would be something that would happen, but I doubt that. Texans collects $21.6 million off rip. So, his training games came after the hiring process. Of course, you don't know, Deshaun Watson's trade request came after he was reportedly unhappy with the process used by the team to hire Nick Caserio as their new GM in early January. And according to what happened is the Ravens, not the Ravens, but the Texans owner, I believe Bob McNair, said that, when we're hiring this GM, we're going to take your suggestions we want your suggestions, even with the head coach as well. And pretty much they never consulted him. And I understand, I don't know how this is going to go. There's a lot of teams. I think it will be interesting. Now, back in the Steel City, the Steelers, get ready because your quarterback is still Ben Roethlisberger, who is going to take $41 million this year. $1 million against the Steelers. Made a statement on Wednesday that the Steelers are making it clear they're not going to give up their quarterback, which I am going to say this, who is about to be 39 years old. 39 years old. And this is a big deal. And according to Steelers team president Art Rooney II, he says that Ben Roethlisberger and I met for Tuesday morning, and we had a productive meeting. We were able to discuss a lot of things that lead to where we are and where we want to go. Ben assured me that he is committed to coming back and to help us win, and I told Ben that we'd like to have him back to help us win our championship. We both understand the next step is to work out Ben's contract situation. See, if you don't know, the Steelers signed the 37-year-old Roethlisberger to a 2-year, $68 million contract extension prior to the 2028 season. It actually came with a $37.5 million in signing bonus and a $30 million injury guarantee. So let's see. It says here at the time of that contract he was in the final year of a 4-year, $87.6 million extension he signed in 2015. The 2019 extension carried a cap of $23.75 million in 2020. The number is jump-rocketed up to this because it was jump-rocketed to $41.5 million, $0.25 million in 2021, thanks to a $4 million base salary, up from a $1.5 million in 2020, and a $15 million roster bonus. My goodness gracious. That's a lot. The dead cap, if the Steelers opted to release Roethlisberger, the dead cap hit would be $22.5 million for the 2021 season. So what's the plan? when there's plans to reduce this, there's two viable options. The first thing the Steelers could do is a restructure and 4-year extension that voids after 2021. That method reduces his 2021 base salary to $1.7075 million and converts the remaining base salary and $15 million roster bonus into a signing bonus. In total, that will actually save the Steelers $14.34 million for the 2021 season, but the savings will turn into dead cap for the 2022 season. The Steelers will still be on the hook for this Roethlisberger as a paycheck, but it's spreads over the cap over multiple years. The Steelers rarely give contracts to voidable years, but it could be the best compromise. So it looks like his thing. It basically will look like it would be like a Bobby Bonilla type of situation. It would be like a Bobby Bonilla situation, which actually would be a funny thing. So basically, you get the NFL equivalent of a Bobby Bonilla day. So where the man get for like a few years. Well, it's not some crazy thing, but it is the best compromise where that actually could work. It also says here the Steelers could also reduce his cap hit by asking him to take a 70% pay cut. If Roethlisberger agrees to play for the veteran minimum, his cap hit would come in at just over $23 million. By asking a veteran quarterback to slash his pay for the good of a team would most likely be met with dissension from the players. That would be met with dissension from the NFLPA. So let's see. So let's see here. Roethlisberger previously told The Athletic he didn't care about my pay. Roethlisberger previously told The Athletic that he did not care about his pay at all this year. And his agent Ryan Toner told NFL Network on Tuesday night, "We are happy to creatively adjust his contract to help them build the best team possible." With that phraseology, though. With that phraseology, Toner isn't exactly promising his client will be open to taking a steep pay cut for the final year of his contract. Let's see here. How concerned should this... Now, the next question is, should the Steelers be concerned about Roethlisberger's play at the end of the 2020 season? I know the Steelers' season didn't end well for the Steelers or for the quarterback. It pretty much, yeah, because they made it to the playoffs. And in the first quarter alone, got blown out 28-0. But to the Cleveland Browns, who was making their first playoff appearance since 2002. So, yeah, that is. But according to Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert, he believes that Roethlisberger can still play at a high level. Says here, Colbert says last week that Ben Roethlisberger did a lot of really good things last year, and we anticipate that he could still do some good things moving forward. But his numbers actually were down in his first season back from major elbow surgery, as Roethlisberger's average intended air yards ranked toward the bottom of the league at just 7.1 yards per attempt. His average of 4.6 completed air yards was fifth lowest among NFL quarterbacks. Only 32 of his attempts went for first downs, the lowest rate for a full season in his career. And his adjusted net yards per attempt was his lowest for a full season since 2013. But it wasn't all Ben Roethlisberger's fault. His average time to pass was just 2.3 seconds, the lowest for any qualifying quarterback in the past 4 seasons. Part of that is the offensive line play dropped and didn't give him much time in the pocket. Now with Marquise Pansy's retirement and Al Villanueva's likely departure in free agency, the Steelers are now going to be looking towards making a younger, more rebuilt offensive line for the 2021 season. If they can get the right place in place that could benefit Roethlisberger. It also had the highest rate of drop passes in 2020 with 5.6%. Roethlisberger didn't push the ball down the field for most of the season, but that was also a product of the scheme and the unbalanced offense as the run game actually disappeared, which is facts. But mostly it was also because of Andy's last three games of the season. Roethlisberger's air yards per attempt jumped to 8.0, up from a 6.9 average through week 14. Some instances when he did throw it deep were off target or short, but others he hit with a kind of pinpoint precision that suggests his elbow is plenty capable of holding up for another season, but feel confident in his ability to lead team to success in 21. The Steelers need to give Roethlisberger better protection as his mobility continues to decline, true, and he needs a stronger run game to balance the offense attack. Well, they actually do need an established run game. They should. Now, what is the figure of the future of the quarterback position? Well, Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins Jr. are both free agents in 2022, and Roethlisberger's return gives him fewer opportunities to be evaluated for in-game situations. With any luck, the NFL will reinstitute some form of preseason games, giving the younger quarterback some game time, but it will still be a very small sample size. Corbin and Rooney said they wanted to add to the quarterback room, and that could be done through the draft this year. Rooney said in January that I think when you look into our room, we obviously are going to have to add somebody to the room here this offseason, and so we'll look at all the opportunities we have to do that. So, with the promotion of quarterbacks coach Matt Canada to offensive coordinator, the Steelers hired QB coach Mike Sullivan, who actually worked with Eli Manning in a stint with the Giants. He'll play in a vital role in developing Roethlisberger's successor. Roethlisberger's return gives the organization more flexibility to take a mid to late round pick quarterback in the draft to evaluate. At worst, a quarterback selected in the 2021 draft could be a viable backup for the 2022 season if the Steelers don't retain Rudolph or Haskins. What does Ben's return Steelers do for free agents? It looks like, according to Colbert, it says there's not much money to go around for the 19 unrestricted free agents. Among them is going to be Bud Dupree, outside linebacker Bud Dupree, wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster is unlikely. The Steelers could be in play to resign free agents like cornerbacks Mike Hudden and Cameron Sutton, but it also can come into crossover releasing a few expensive veterans, such as cornerbacks Joe Hayden and Steve Nelson. Steve Nelson appears that in their desire. So it seems here, with less than a month until the start of a new year, which is March 17th, the Steelers are still over the projected cap by more than $20 million. In addition to retaining Roethlisberger, the organization will also be tasked with putting together a massive extension for outside linebacker T.J. Watt, who should have been back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So there is a lot of things for the Steelers. In this case, you guys, all I can say is, Steeler fans, you guys got lots of big choices in mind for you guys. Let's see, next in terms of Dallas, the question is going to be 21 teams. He's going to have big decisions to make in terms of franchise tags, of course, which actually begins Tuesday. The franchise tag window begins Tuesday, and teams right now have until March 9th to place the tag on their most valuable player. So that's going to be the big question is right now for the Atlanta Falcons. Is going to be Keanu Neal, safety for the Falcons, and they're looking into trying to keep him in there, as he actually played in his 5th-year option after missing nearly all 2018 and 2019 because of injuries. Keanu Neal will actually bounce back in his year while playing on a 5th-year option with 100 tackles and an interception in 2020. So that's going to be a big thing. And there's going to be a question is he going to be a good fit into their new defensive scheme, into the new coaching staff moving forward. For the Buffalo Bills, it looks like their best player could be Matt Milano as linebacker. It looks like this is something that it is a big thing. The big thing about this is for this offseason, he is actually looking like looks like it is going to be 13, looking like this year. If he does to the franchise tag, he will be commanding north of $13 million a year for his thing. Looks like Bills general manager Brandon Beane is actually giving Milano his blessing to seek the biggest payday elsewhere. So it looks like he's going to be leaving. For the Ravens, the biggest thing is going to be who among the two linebackers, big outside linebackers, Matthew Judon or Yannick Ngakoue for under first tag, which is actually questionable. Which one will they take? But it's actually prohibitive for the Ravens to use the tag on either Judon or Ngakoue, because according to this, it would take up nearly all of Baltimore's salary cap space to do so, and you can make the argument that there isn't value to putting the tag on either of them. According to this, Judon actually totaled 6 sacks last season, and Ngakoue didn't seem to be a very fit, but the Ravens have to at least consider it. Without the tag, Judon and Ngakoue are more than likely getting more lucrative deals elsewhere. It looks like here, given the cap restraints, Ravens can address outside linebacker by re-signing Tyus Bowser and selecting a pass rusher early in this year's draft. That's a big question there. My thoughts about Judon is, yes, he has 6 sacks. But right now he is 28. He'll be 29 coming into this next. If he gets resigned, he'll be coming up in 29 years old. So in 30, and he is good of a linebacker, as good as a linebacker he is his career so far. His career, 34.5 sacks, 166 tackles, and I believe 235 tackles, 34.5 sacks. He has 7 fumbles, recovered 2, and 10 passes defended, and I believe a number of losses, tackles. I don't know what this last one is, but yeah, he is. So yeah, there's a lot of big things there for Judon. I think Judon is going to be Judon is a great player, but for someone who's going to be heading into his 30s, it's going to be a big question. Now, Yannick, I really would consider the Ravens would try to at least pick up Ngakoue, which would be a good. I say in terms of like Ravens, they need to have should tag on here, because now I know Ngakoue didn't seem to be the good fit in terms of like pass rush, but in terms of run stopping, that was a big thing to help with the run stopping, especially containment, and especially him, Calais Campbell, and Derek Wolfe and Brandon Williams, all four of them actually pretty much helping play a big role in helping shut down the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs. So I think it is questionable what they could do. I think they could use a tag, but if it's not, but it looks like it's in the case here. But I would love to see that be a thing. Next, we have Carolina Panthers. They are looking to probably trying to keep Tyler Moulton as their offensive lineman for a Carolina team that actually has one starting offensive lineman under center Matt Preyas under contract. So that is the plan, is using a franchise tag if a long-term deal cannot be worked out. So, but it looks like it says here that the franchise would be an estimated $13.6 million. It looks like they're actually planning on releasing Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kawan Short, which actually gives the team some cap room. So next Cincinnati Bengals, they actually playing on. Next is Carl Lawson, defensive end, who is actually finishing this rookie deal as their most disruptive pass rusher, and who had a 5.5 sacks this season, actually, which is a big question, despite the fact this is thing that actually is, but the big thing is Lawson is for the Bengals. They're actually as his most defensive as even though there is his most the Bengals most disruptive pass rusher. Looks like they're not going to try to use the tag on him because of the tag is worth an estimated 17.8 million per according to Over the Cap. So it looks, but the big thing is about his disruption is more disruptive than the raw numbers indicate. He actually created via Aaron. He created 10 sacks via an ESPN metric powered by NFL Next Gen sets, which is good for 7th in the league last season. But yeah, so it looks like he's more likely going to be he's going to command highs already in open market. It looks like the Bengals are planning on just letting him go. The next big thing is Allen Robinson for the Chicago Bears, which is actually a big target for the Ravens. Actually been looking in trying to get him. Actually. Bears, he is actually, the offense actually is, Allen Robinson's actually a great portion of is actually a great weapon for the Bears and offense, and actually is actually going to be a strong possibility to be tagged, especially right now. Chicago is trying to figure out who they want as a quarterback moving forward. And the cost of tagging Robinson is actually $16.4 million, but the Bears are actually in a tight predicament with their salary cap already as is. So they actually need to create space by restructuring contracts or releasing expensive veterans. For example, Jimmy Graham is actually a big thing. It's also nice not to rule out a tag and trade scenario for Robinson depending on how things play out for Chicago in free agency. Next, the Dallas Cowboys. They are actually looking on is Dak Prescott. As right now, without a large-term deal by May 9th, the Cowboys are planning on tagging Prescott for the second straight year and will cost $37.7 million against the cap. It would also set in motion the likelihood that 2021 could be the final season for Dak Prescott. These talks are entering their third off-season. So maybe the two sides will be able to find a compromise. Is Prescott worth it? Well, the Cowboys went 4-7 without him in 2020. And the offense scored one touchdown in the first 3 games Dallas played after suffering his bad ankle injury. So it's more likely that the Cowboys are going to franchise tag Prescott, and I'm probably certain he's gaining that franchise. He's going to get that big extension because the way the season went without him, he's probably whispering in Jerry Jones' ear. You see this? You need me. You need me to lead your team, Jerry. You know you can't. You know you have to sign me that money. He has all the leverage right now, Dak Prescott or Jerry Jones. So right now it looks like for the Denver Broncos, they have Justin Simmons, safety, as a big question. Is they're actually working on a situation, and Simmons actually saying he would like to stay with Denver. So they're both sides are pretty much saying it is all coming together on their side of the negotiating table. But this long-term deal is going to happen. But it would say but I think they're actually going to be working on some of this stuff. It says the Broncos are planning on using a franchise tag on Simmons just to give him more time to get a long-term deal done. So, the next for Detroit Lions, it is Kenny Golladay, which is a big decision as it is actually going to be a counter. But in the who in the previous regime would appear to be a candidate for a long-term deal, but it never materialized. Now, since the Lions are rebuilt under a new head coach and general manager in Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, the franchise is choosing whether to actually A, sign a long-term extension for Golladay, tag and then trade him, or walk. Dallas, who actually needs wide receivers desperately for a new quarterback, Jared Goff, could do any of those things considering its multi-year plan to return back, try to get themselves back into the competitive nature in their league. So, So it looks like according to Michael Rothstein, the prediction is the Lions will use a franchise tag on Galladay, which I think it makes sense if they more than likely would, because one of the teams that had interest in him, if they were putting him into free agency, was the Ravens. So both Allen Robinson and Kenny Galladay. There are some rumors that that the Ravens are looking into picking up Corey Davis, who is one of the Titans' wide receivers. So yeah, let's just say Baltimore's kind of got revenge on the Titans a lot. It's like, yeah, we whooped your ass. You gotta hold that out for a year, and you know what? We're gonna take one of your wide receivers. Yeah, that's basically like Baltimore's starting to do some Japanese basically starting to follow the basics of of imperialism, which is pretty much crushing the spirits of a team, taking pretty much one of their soldiers to bolster their comfort, bolster their armies, and probably also taking the women and children for the pleasures of taking the women for pretty much their pleasure. So, yeah, they're following through with that pretty well. So, next is going to be the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Jones. So, it's with Aaron Jones, or running back Aaron Jones, Packers weren't willing to guarantee a significant portion of a contract they offered Jones during the season, but they would clearly like him back, so they're planning on tagging him. His services for one more season would be around $11 million, but there are two things to consider. Difficulty of ferrying that tag under the salary cap and Jones' potential unwillingness to play for the tag. So the question is, will there be a long-term deal or a tag, or giving that tag? And the thing is, Aaron Jones is probably looking for a bigger payday, just like Le'Veon Bell, which I understand if they did give him that tag, who knows what he would do with that. Next, for the Houston Texans, is pretty much using is Will Fuller, the fifth wide receiver. In 2020, Will Fuller was actually on his way to proving he could stay healthy and be a number one wide receiver for the Texans, but he ended up getting suspended for filing the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances. Even after Fuller was suspended, Deshaun Watson said he wanted a receiver back in 2021. So it looks like the Texans are like, in Texans' way, maybe Texans are probably planning on finding a way of making sure they could get him back. They could tag Fuller to try to tell Watson, like, okay, we fessed up on the coaching thing and the GM's decision, but look, hey, we got your boy Will Fuller back. You sure you want to play again? You think you can change your mind and not want to be traded? Come on, please. Which could work, because actually Houston actually have saved $17.5 million by releasing J.J. Watt, and have other players they could release or contracts that they can restructure to make that $16.4 million franchise tag work. So it looks like they could make a franchise tag or make a way of restructuring, of making a new contract for him. So they have options here to actually pull this off. So who knows what could happen? They could use that franchise tag or not. So it looks like for Ravens, there's three or four big names there, and Corey Davis, Allen Robinson, Kenny Galladay, and Will Fuller, more than likely. Could be Will Fuller. Next for the LA Chargers is Hunter Henry, a tight end, who was franchised last season because of injury concerns. He played in all but the last two games of the season after being placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. If the Chargers were franchise tag him for a second straight year, 2021 salary will be $12.7 million, the 6'5" tight end actually had a standout season with 60 receptions, 613 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. And this is a good, reliable quarterback target for quarterback Justin Herbert, who's going to be in his second year, as he's going to be in his sophomore year, who had a great first season. Next for the Jacksonville Jaguars, it is Cam Robinson, left tackle. So Cam Robinson actually hasn't progressed significantly from his rookie season in 2017. His best season was in 2019, when he ranked 57 for on tackles in pass block win rate, and ranked 59 in 2020. The franchise tag, which is estimated to be around 13.2 million, looks like a better option than signing Robinson to a long-term deal. Take one more year and see if and how much he improves. This Jaguars have the most salary cap space available, actually right now at $74 million, so they could actually afford Trent Williams. So they could go and get Trent Williams, who actually could average 18 to $20 million annually. Now he says that new head coach Urban Meyer, Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer, recently said that he actually likes the offensive line, so it might be an indication that the Jaguars might do a tag for him for at least one more year. But according to Michael DeRocco, the Jaguars writer for ESPN, says that Robinson hasn't made enough progress to warrant the franchise tag, but the Jaguars won't tag him. Shouldn't tag him. Next is for the New England Patriots is going to be Joe Tunney, left guard, who is right now, which seems highly unlikely because Foodney was tagged last year. He actually falls into the category of possibilities this year. It would be a 120% increase from his $14.7 million tag in 2020. It's hard to believe that the Patriots want to eat 17.7 for $7 million in cap space with other pressing needs. So the big thing is that this has been something that should have been. They had all of 2019 and up to July of last year to reach an extension, but it doesn't look like there has not been much to make. So that is a questionable thing. Next, the New Orleans Saints with Marcus Williams, the safety out of Marcus Williams, aka the guy who put the hit stick on his own teammate and pretty much caused the Minneapolis Miracle to happen. So yeah, there's that. So it looks like the big thing is So the big thing is going to be the Saints. They are in crazy cap hell right now. So the fact is, franchise tagging them going to be the case? No, because it's more than likely they're not going to use that franchise tag this year because safety is the most affordable position. Is the most affordable position in the league when it comes to the franchise tag, which is $11.4 million last year. So Saints could consider use it on him, but free safety has been a start ever since he was drafted in the second round in 2017. His best season was in 2020. It was this year. According to Mike Triplett, the Saints beat writer for ESPN, the Saints are not going to use that franchise tag on Williams. Next is the New York Giants with Leonard Williams as their defensive lineman. This would be more as a short-term placeholder. This isn't a year to put $19.4 billion cap charge on the books. It says here the Giants franchised Williams last year, and now would be 120% of that $16.1 million salary for 2021. Goal is to sign Williams to a longer deal, but the franchise tag could buy two sides more time if necessary. Williams is going to get paid regardless. He is worth $16 million off a half sack last season. What's he worth now off of a career best 11 half sacks? God dang. Yeah, the Giants are going to give him a long-term deal. According to Jordan Raanan, Giants beat writer for ESPN, that Leonard Williams is probably more than likely signing a long-term deal with the Giants before that franchise tag deadline at just under $20 million per season. So it looks like he's going to get a big deal, which is actually a big thing. Next, for the Jets. Next, we go to the New York Jets. We got Marcus May, the safety, who is the press check and tech amount at safety, $11.2 million is ridiculous, but Silva just could use the tag for the first time since 2016. The big goal is to sign a long-term deal for May, who was voted by the teammates as the Jets MVP of 2020 to a long-term contract. The tag would buy more time if they can get it done by March 9th. A year ago, General Manager Doug Douglas admittedly miscalculated the market and lost to wide receiver Robbie Anderson in free agency. He doesn't want that same thing to happen to May, who's likely to land a deal that pays him in the neighborhood of $10 to $12 million a year. The Jets and May will reach a long-term agreement, avoiding New York from having to use a franchise tag. Next is for Seattle Seahawks with Shaquille Griffin. Cornerback. Griffin will likely want to be paid like a top 5 cornerback, which might be too steep for the Seahawks as they look to extend Jamal Adams, which could be a record contract for the safety. That would bring the tag into play with an estimated cost of $15.266 million, according to Over the Cap. If the Seahawks aren't confident that they can get a deal done with Griffin and anticipate a strong market for the 25-year-old Pro Bowler, they likely have to consider tagging and trading him, such like they did 2 years ago with Frank Clark, who went to the Kansas City Chiefs and played a big role. I think played a big role in their Super Bowl run, and played a big role for their defense in both these past 2 years. And then we get to the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the player we got is Chris Godwin, who is more than likely going to get tagged. He was more than likely going to be tagged because they are not letting him leave at all because Bruce Arians said he ain't leaving no time soon. Godwin is going to be their top franchise tag candidate. Excuse me. Sorry, I need to sneeze. It would cost Tampa Bay roughly $16.5 million. They could also have the option of tagging outside linebacker Shaquille Barrett again for a second time, but it would cost them 120% more than what they tagged him last year, which would be roughly $19 million this year, which isn't the best not cap friendly because the team is projected to have $30 million in cap space in 2021. So according to Jenna Lane, who is the Buccaneers beat writer on ESPN, that the Buccaneers will probably use the franchise tag on Godwin with hopes of making a long-term extension happen, which makes sense. And then next we got the Tennessee Titans with Jonnu Smith as tight end. Titans, they actually are well aware of Smith's value as a pass catcher, especially in the red zone where he hauled in 8 touchdowns this season. Smith has actually become a preferred target for Ryan Tannehill, but Smith was not involved as much as left tackle Taylor Lewan was placed on injured reserve in November, and the Titans actually had to utilize Smith's blocking ability to help Lewan's backups. So the franchise tag is going to cost $10.2 million, but it does give a good time for Tennessee to negotiate a long-term deal with him, who is actually right now 25 years old. He's 25 years old. The Titans are probably going to be, so the plan, according to Durant report, that the Titans will probably more likely place the franchise tag on Smith and work on a long-term deal to keep him in Tennessee for a while. And finally, we get to the Washington football team, and the big question is going to be right guard Brandon Sheriff, and it says here Coach Ron Rivera has said he wants to build strong lines on both sides of the ball. Sheriff was a first-team All-Pro last season, the first by any player here on the team since 1996. He's also a 4-time Pro Bowler. Durability has been a concern as Sheriff hasn't played a full season since 2016, and the 13 games played this past season were his most since 2017. There's no doubt about his impact when he plays, with his ability to win at the line and on the move. Moreover, because of his stature, he would command around $15 million a year, which is the highest for a guard. both for left and right side. For left and right side. Washington used the franchise on him last year, which is $15.03 million. If tagging in, he gets a 20% bump, so there's not much incentive on this end to get a deal done, knowing he could make $18 million on a one-year deal. But that also, according to John Keem, who is the Washington beat writer, that for ESPN, it says here that Washington will use the franchise tag on Scherf, but it'll be with the idea of continuing to negotiate and ultimately reach a deal. It's just likely going to be a while to get there. So that is going to be the big. Those are number teams that are going to be using a franchise tag. It looks like others probably have an idea of what they want to do. Another big day in the Ravens is Baltimore Ravens offensive tackle Randall Brown is exploring a trade possibility as he eyes a full-time role at left tackle because if the Browns actually the Ravens drafted Brown in 2018 to play right tackle opposite left tackle Ronnie Stanley, who in October was signed to a 5-year, $98.75 million extension in October, when Stanley suffered a fractured and dislocated ankle in Week 8 of last season. Brown acquitted himself well at left tackle over the last 10 regular season and playoff games, actually posting a solid 76.4 Pro Football Focus grade on his way to a second consecutive Pro Bowl. And in late September, Brown made clear his feelings in late September with a simple tweet as "I'm a left tackle." And the 6'8" Brown is a former first-round pick who is set to hit free agency in 2022. And one of the big things is the Ravens can be an aggressive on the trade market. Actually, that's how we end up acquiring Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue via deals with the Jaguars and the Minnesota Vikings last season. So it looks like this is going to be a most likely case scenario. It's going to be a situation that's going to happen. Now, next big question is J.J. Watt. And according to this, he has actually received multiple contract offers from multiple teams. I believe to be a dozen plus. And among the big candidates is that the Cleveland Browns are among the teams that are interested in Watt. And it says here that Cleveland, according to ESPN and multiple reports, it was not clear whether Cleveland has actually submitted an offer to a 5-time Pro Bowler. According to Cleveland.com, reported that Watt actually had some mutual interest in signing with the Browns. There was actually a dozen teams. The Browns, the Steelers, the Tennessee Titans, and the Buffalo Bills actually expressed interest in Watt. And honestly, J.J. Watt would be it actually would work, honestly, in my opinion. The Texans would honestly, for the Browns, could be a big thing, especially as the Browns do need a big thing there. Carson Wentz, of course, we don't know. Carson Wentz was traded to the Indianapolis Colts for I believe Indianapolis Colts. Others. And it looks like the most likely situation going on is the big case situation going right now. That is the big news coming out of the NFL. Free agency, there's going to be a lot of moves. I don't know. I say the Ravens are will be making a trade. I think one of the things they're saying is like, hey, this is a young, healthy offensive tackle who wants to be in left tackle. And left tackle is one of the biggest positions in the NFL. So for a trade situation like that, they're looking like, hey, we want a first or third round pick or something, which there's a lot of things Ravens can do. There's going to be a lot of decisions I think more likely going to happen on draft day. So on draft day. So there's a lot of situations going on here. There's a lot of big moves for the NFL moving forward coming up soon. For NFL season soon. Just like that. I think myself, I will actually do a little thing on when the first day of the free agency happens, which is probably do like a live stream, like a special edition type of thing, podcast, because of that situation, because there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be exciting. I will probably keep an eye on that a lot, and we'll probably do something for that. Alright, now, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Pokemon Gen 4 remakes and Arceus Legends game that came out, and we're going to talk about the Mortal Kombat movie trailer, and then, then to end this show off, I'm actually going to make an announcement about probably a bracket challenge for March, and some plans I have planned for the next few months, which actually is something because of some big news I got from my family in Maryland. So that's something I will talk about in a moment, and when we come back. So don't go anywhere, folks. You're watching episode 21 of a J Money Talks podcast on SoundCloud and YouTube. Don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back. Alright, guys, let's go. Before we get into the next segment, I'm going to at least give you guys a little advice and help you guys out with sleep. You understand something about sleep. Sleep is probably one of the biggest fat burners ever. Yes, sleep is just as effective. A good 8 hours rest is just as effective as doing like 20 minutes of cardio, just as effective as 30, just as effective as lifting weights, just as effective as a lot of things. But sleep is important because it also helps you recover better, helps you recover for the next day, and you also burn fat. So, here's the thing. You might need, if you have a hard time trying to sleep, get yourself into that sleep cycle, well, I got something to help you out, and that is nitrate, ladies and gentlemen. This here, fat burn, I probably mentioned this before, but it is actually the biggest thing that helps you out. You take two of these capsules before bedtime, and it'll help you relax. Of course, it has melatonin, but it also helps you relax, and also helps improve the onset of REM sleep faster. I've had good REM sleep, which is important. So when you get up in the morning, you just feel refreshed, energized, ready to go. And also, it helps you out with, of course, you got magnesium, ashwagandha, melatonin, GABA, and there's a few other natural ingredients. And it also helps to maximize that fat burning potential with CLA, L-carnitine, and grains of paradise. It's gluten-free. It's actually lab tested. They're veggie caps, and so they're friendly for vegans. So if you're a vegan, they're probably friendly for you. So guys, check them out. They are pretty good. I've used these for months. I was searching for melatonin. I mentioned like melatonin one day, and one day I scrolled through Instagram, and then this popped up. It said nitrate, and I was like, you'll go to sleep and burn fat at the same time. I'm like, This was that time when I was really doing my fitness journey, and I was like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. Bought some, tried it, helped me out great, and the next thing I know, I fell in love with this thing. So go get you guys some today. Also, they have a subscription thing you can set up, and they also got a good amount of other things like InnoShred, which is like the daytime equivalent of this. So think of this as NyQuil. The other one's DayQuil, which I actually need to try. I want to get my hands on a package myself. And I'm also going to try the Volcarn, which is like this liquid L-carnitine supplement, which I take before my workout. Let me tell you, as a matter of fact, as I mix it in with my Final Boss Pre, let me tell you, it tastes great. I've had the sour candy flavor, which is which kind of mixed with it, it's kind of, I don't know, this doesn't hit right, but I mixed it in but there is another flavor, which is pink Starburst flavor, which, coincidentally, when you mix it in with this, somehow makes the thing taste like pink lemonade. Goes down smoothly. I don't know how. I don't know what they did, but it works. I'm actually trying another flavor. I got mixed in because I get samples when I get a new thing of this. Is candy peach rings, which tastes kind of right. I might see what it's like with water and mix it with my pre-workout, which I'll try it later. But if you guys need a good pre-workout, need some supplements, they also got sell pre-workout as well, as well as protein powder, which I tried, actually it was not that bad actually, and a greens, which actually was not bad either. So there's another thing but if you guys want a good fat burner, which will help you sleep and get the energy you need, go to InnoSubs.com and tell them your boy Big J Money sent you, because I think they're a great product, and I'm pretty much gonna spit some games on them. They helped me out lose weight. I think they can help you out too, especially as quarantine. We're getting out of here, and guess what? We're gonna be looking. I want to help you guys get shredded, lean down, just like your boy here. And anyways, check it out, InnoSubs.com. Now, let's get back to the show. Alright, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with episode number 21 of the J Money Talks podcast. So, now let's get into the first big thing. First big thing is Pokemon. Earlier this week was the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. Pokemon, also known as Pokemon Day, on February the 25th. So, we actually got the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, and of course, one of the biggest game reveals was of course, it was rumored to come out, and that is the Gen 4 remakes. And they actually are coming, and actually, I've heard about the rumors if it's coming, and I was excited if it was true or not. And then the announcement came, and let me just tell you, my friends, I was happy to hear that the new Pokemon game came out, and it was amazing. The Pokemon remake was coming out. I was actually excited for it. I actually wanted for it to come out. I was actually really excited, especially Gen 4. The Gen 4 remakes was true, because I was a big fan of the Gen 4 remakes. My first game was my first year Gen 4 came out was probably the thing that got me, because Gen 3 introduced me to the game. Gen 4 was the series I thrived off of, especially, and I played Pokemon Pearl a ton. I remember also playing the Gen 2 remake, which was Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which was amazing, and a lot of things. People say Gen 3 was I think a lot of people say Gen 3 is the best, and then you got but Gen 4, in terms of their battle system, was amazingly good. It actually was, they pretty much did a lot of things, make it work, and it looked amazing. And yeah, because you can got physical attack, special attack, you can do, and guess what? It was like hardly anything you could do. Of course, one of the GOATs, here's the thing, every team essentially had reasons. A lot of Pokemon had reasons. Among them, Bidoof, which everyone calls HM Slave, basically. Which we also call HM Slave. So, the game is now the new game is called Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. It's arriving on the Nintendo Switch later this year. And the way it looks like if you play the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl from a DS, they up-res the hell of it. It looks amazing. All the images, everything just looks like it's all the same, and it looks great. It looks great. I'm excited to go back to playing it. I actually played the first remakes a long time ago. It looks amazing. I'm excited. If it's late 2021, it's more likely coming out either in November or December. Which, heck, if that's the case, I already know this. I plan on doing streaming. Actually, I plan on trying to do streaming later this year because I'm planning on getting a new desktop. Getting a desktop in the future. And so that was announced. Then they announced a new different thing. They're making a remake, which is a game called Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is pretty much a which is pretty much the Sinnoh region, but instead of playing it like in the what we know today, this one is going to look more open world, and where like you're pretty much roaming around in the open. You're trying to catch Pokemon. Some cases you can battle them. Some cases you just hide and you just dip in the bushes. You just like a lot of different things. And my thought process when watching this was, it was amazing. Looking at it, it's like this is like the open world thing we wanted. Like Pokemon, we all wanted Pokemon to be open world, and it's going to be different. Like the starter Pokemon you have is, instead of like the usual like Chimchar, Piplup, and Turtwig, your starters is actually Oshawott, Cyndaquil, and Rowlet, which is actually pretty interesting. The Pokeballs look older. Everything looks older. You're pretty much responsible for making the world's first Pokédex. And then you also gotta look at the Gen. It looks like something you actually do a lot, and it's actually gonna be. I think it's gonna be really amazing. I'm excited for this. Now, the one thing I don't understand is somehow a lot of people are complaining about how the games actually look. Look at how the game looks. Like the comments about it is like, I don't know why. A lot of people like complain about how the game looks, because they were saying the simplest things, like they look absolutely disgusting. They actually ruined the game with the art style, and I'm like, in a lot of these other things, I'm just like, it's just pretty much a recreation of the game of the sprites. They were pretty much just. I say if we're gonna call it this, instead of calling it a reboot, a remake, they could have called it a remaster, because it looks like that is what is the case. Now, it looks like they're actually. Now, this game is coming out in months, so who knows? It might look much better, like it could, like Link's Awakening into a different thing. Like, everyone is going to say, like, okay, this is still a game that's going to work on, and they're probably working on the graphics a bit. But a lot of things is, like, for me, to me, I want this Gen 4 remakes. I'm happy it is there. I never understood the Pokemon fan base. And I'm not saying I'm a big person who's part of the Pokemon fan base in general, but man, that is all. You guys are complaining about something that just came out not too long ago. Like, why are you mad about something that just pretty much just got announced? And this is something that I've wanted to see for years. To me, it looks amazing. Like, the recreation of it looks amazing. Like, besides, I wish we had that in 2007, 2008. Like, I was 11, 12 years old when this game came out. I was like, bro, I wish the game looked like that back then. Like, bruh. Like, come on now. Like, y'all are complaining about something that literally that's something we wanted for years, and then when we get the announcement, you want it to be perfect right off jump. I'm like, bruh. They say you're announcing it in late 2021. But we're going to get it in late 2021. I'm excited. I'm excited for this game. I'm waiting. I'm ready to see this this remake. I'm ready to play it on the Switch. I want to at least enjoy it a lot. Especially, I get to see my boy Chimchar, which is my favorite. Which is probably my favorite starter because Infernape. It's because of Infernape. And I'm just saying, I just hope when we have that ability plays, I just want to see. I just wish they actually did a thing where they actually show the Pokemon go with Super Saiyan, like when just like in in the anime, which honestly, I actually want to rewatch that anime because that was actually probably the best. I think that was when the anime was actually at its peak, was Gen 4. Was probably at its best at Gen 4. So, that actually wants me, I'm pretty much a fan of watching that myself at some point. So, I might do a reaction to the whole series from Gen 4, of Gen 4. So, if you guys want to see that, I'll do it too. I'll do something like that in the future. Anyways, I am excited because I woke up that Thursday, because they actually had this thing on Thursday morning, and I was just like, on Thursday morning, which at that point, I was barely getting up, so by the time I actually got up, I was like, just barely getting up. I was just like a zombie, so, which actually was like pretty much me coffee, because I was like, yes, I'm ready, I'm excited for it, so, that's a big thing, so speaking of that, the next big story is, of course, we gotta talk about the Mortal Kombat trailer, which I am excited for that as well, because that's an exciting thing. My thoughts about the trailer itself, I think it looked pretty good. I'm like, pretty good. Like, they're actually, one of the biggest things I like is they're giving Scorpion reveal more of Scorpion's backstory, which actually helped out a lot, because in the original movies, they did not give much about Scorpion's backstory, and then, like, the thing about the first Mortal Kombat movie is Scorpion and Sub-Zero are, like, kind of homies, which I'm like, what? So, like, if you watch the first movie, if you can take the nostalgia goggles off, if you know, like, the whole backstory of Mortal Kombat, the lore, somehow Scorpion and Sub-Zero are, like, up close, like, working together. I'm like, what? They weren't, like, Scorpion should be, like, ready to fight, and, like, they're showing a lot of stuff in there. I'm excited for it. My only thing about it I will say is, like, the Scorpion, get over here was not even, like, close to, the typical one. It sounded a little, like, they didn't have that, like, that guttural sound. It was like, get over here. Instead, it's like a little pitch. It needs to be like that guttural one. It's a little higher pitch with that, get over here. I'm talking that, like, type of thing. Like, they need to do better with it. So, that's about it. Some people I've seen was about the Melina complaints, like, why she looks a little human-like she doesn't have, like, the cotton teeth and stuff, and, like, I'm like, I don't know, some people question, like, the actress who's playing her, who is this, I don't know the name who Lena is. This is Black Lady, which they, like, announced this during the time, like, all the protests and stuff was going on, and it was, like, that thing, like inclusion, and I was like, I don't know, and the people were complaining about that, like, oh, here comes Hollywood trying to be social justice or whatnot, and I'm like, no, and I don't know what else to say other than, like, well, I don't know what else to say. So I don't know much about to say this. I'm hoping the movie's good. I'm definitely seeing it in theaters. And I'm definitely wearing the goddamn Scorpion costume, right? That's just chilling right there. I'm definitely wearing that on opening day. You bet money I'm wearing it opening day. So, trust me on that. Okay, so, we're going to take one more quick break. And when we come back, we're actually going to talk about, I actually have plans for a March Madness bracket challenge. Actually, I'm going to announce that right now. I'm planning on doing a March Madness bracket challenge for March Madness, of course, NCAA tournament. I actually plan on doing a bracket challenge. I'll probably do ESPN. I'm actually going to work on the prize details. I'm going to at least do that and it's almost time for the bracket to be announced. Like, probably the day before Selection Sunday, I'll give you guys a full detailed idea of, like, how that's going to go. But I want you guys to keep post it. I'm gonna leave you guys on details on it through my social media. So if you guys want to go ahead, if you guys want to know how to get in this bracket challenge and hear the details about it, just go to my personal Instagram page and my personal Twitter, which is both in there. It is both my Instagram and Twitter is both jmoney1196 on Twitter and on Instagram. The first jmoney1196 is all lowercase on Instagram, and on Twitter the J and M is capitalized, and capital J, capital M, money, and the rest lowercase, 1196 on Twitter. So you'll get more details of when themes are going to be out soon. I'll keep you guys in details later, very later on. Keep details on that very, very soon. So I'll let you guys know in a bit. Anyways, we're going to take one more quick break, and when we come back, we will get into the nitty gritty, and that's actually something I actually wanted to talk about which is actually going to happen, which is going to affect the channel and also myself, which is something that's going to happen in the next few months. It actually involves some family. Actually, is a family thing that actually is. I actually want to at least get into very detail about. So I'll break that down in a few minutes. So we'll be right back, guys. You're watching episode 21 of the J Money Talks podcast on YouTube and SoundCloud. Don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back. Alright, guys. Before we get into this next segment, we gotta at least talk about, I gotta mention Just Saying Gear, y'all. If you guys haven't gotten Just Saying Gear, since the gym's starting to get open up, gyms are starting to open up. Some are loosening their restrictions in the gym. Maybe now some are loosening their restrictions in the gym, and if you haven't gotten out of the gym, haven't gotten in shape yet, want to get in shape before the summertime get here, well, this will help you out especially well. Just in Gear pretty much makes these anime themed fitness gear. Not only do they do Dragon Ball, they also got Naruto, they got your Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, and much more. And I recommend this. I recommend this thing, and I recommend this thing. You follow a size guide, and there's a size guide that works perfectly. And let me tell you, when this shirt came out, I feel great. It feels like this thing it's called a skin gear. It truly does feel like you're a second skin. Like when you move, the suit moves with you. It doesn't feel tightened. It doesn't feel like loose. It feels perfect. It fits you perfectly. It moves perfectly. It works out amazingly. And I recommend you gotta get this. So I definitely recommend it, especially the long sleeve, especially the joggers. They feel amazing too. They actually feel amazing. They do sometimes kind of feel a little loose when I come off. But I think as a son, I'm actually losing. I'm getting a little lighter at the waist. So there may be. So that's another thing. So who knows? I'm actually working out pretty good. So I have a link. I have a promo code in the description below. It'll help you guys out perfectly fine, and you guys can get you guys in there. Go to get you guys this gear. It helps you out, and I recommend this. Definitely recommend it to you. It does take time because this thing actually is handmade, and it is from China. And I know there's a lot of people probably saying like you shouldn't buy stuff from China. Listen, look, our smartphones are made in China, and are pretty much a good chunk of clothing is made in China anyway. So I mean, yeah, I know they kind of started the coronavirus. I'm not saying they did, but hey, I'm not trying to start that shit. But I'm not trying to start anything. But I digress. But get you guys this Just Saying gear. It is amazing. It'll help. It's gonna work. It works perfectly. It feels amazing. It fits great. It works great, and it'll help you all out. check them out. JustSaying.co. They'll make you super. Just saying. Alright, let's get back to the show. Alright, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with the J Money Talks podcast, and now we're going to the final segment of the show, and this has been a long one, and actually this is something I kind of want to discuss with you guys, because this is an important thing, and I want to at least get this out of the way right now. So, if anyone who knows me personally, in late December 2018, my grandfather sadly passed away at 89 years old. And after a funeral, he left to someone in his will, pretty much the ownership of of his house, which was a house he actually built. They built himself, and actually funded pretty much when he actually worked through after he served in the military for 7 years. For 7 years, he actually built a house in Frederick, Maryland, and it was gonna be something that was not, and even though it was something that was passed on to me, my sister, I think my great aunt, a great aunt of mine, and I think some other people, and also various possessions. We pretty much, the family found it best to sell the house. So they ended up selling the house. It went up for sale, and it was sold for $200. It was sold for over $200,000, and the number of people who was getting a portion of pretty much of the whole thing, which was pretty much in this state, was me, my sister, my father, a couple of my cousins, and also my cousin Mazio and my cousin Shermise, who actually helped with the funeral arrangements. Also with the funeral arrangements. Alongside with my father, who actually was there to see my father in his last few days. Actually. So I ended up getting a portion, and it was something that actually took a while because of lawyers, and then there was an IRS thing, which had to do with looking at something. It was also something to do with the $1,200 stimulus check, which my grandfather got a portion of it because I guess he filed his taxes in 2018, so I guess it met the threshold of who gets this $1,200 check. So yeah, that's a process in of itself. So they're figuring out that $1,200 check and all that stuff. So finally, they actually found a way of at least giving us at least half, or at least half of this check, half of this ESA thing. I won't say to you guys the full amount because I want to keep that's something I should keep under wraps. But it's at least it's a good amount, actually. I will say it's a good amount. And reason why I want to tell you guys this is because I plan on in the next few months is to look into various avenues to look at I'm actually planning on using that money in a lot of ways. Among them is, one, getting my driver's license. Well, first thing is get my learner's permit, and then start driving school, which actually is the first thing my dad probably has tried telling me I should do it, which I actually am. And he keeps pestering me about doing that. And I'm pretty much want to do is actually spend it on other stuff. So if he doesn't stop. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to be using that money for that. Pretty much using money for this reason. Another thing is I do want to upgrade this laptop. Actually get another one, a more up to date laptop, and pretty much upgrade everything, the camera. Upgrade the camera, upgrade the camera. I'm not going to change the microphone I'm using right now, this CAD audio microphone, which is a pretty good microphone. I will be looking towards using that, getting like a different type of microphone when later on. Another thing is also getting is actually later on. Actually, start using the next few months. Is actually planning on try to at least learn actually kickboxing, like Muay Thai kickboxing, which is something I want to learn. And actually, because my plan is, I plan on at least learning kickboxing, cutting down to at least 205, maybe like 185, and try an amateur kickboxing competition. I know that sounds wild as all hell. Like, you trying to do like professional fight? No, I actually want to try an amateur competition, see what it's like, have that feeling of like what it's like to be an actual fight. So I know it sounds weird. That's something I kind of want to try out, see what it's like, and see what it's like, and see if we can get that in before the year's up, and yeah. So get my driver's license. Big thing is getting my driver's license, getting get my driver's license, first my permit and then my license. But go to driving school, and upgrade this laptop here, and then also upgrade my own, also get my own desktop, so I can actually do stream games, and all that stuff, and stream games again, which took a long while, which stopped for a while because if you don't know, when I moved, I don't want to say moved out, but evicted out of my apartment, I forgot to grab the gaming computer, and that's been a story for a while, and I've talked about this multiple times. And yeah, I'm pretty much getting a new. And I know a lot of people have asked, like, how have you didn't get back or tried to talk to you at apartment company? Listen, it's been over a year plus. I've not longer give a fuck about those guys, about that apartment. Heck, they don't even own that apartment complex no more, actually. Run apartment complex anymore. So, I digress. There is a lot of things I'm actually looking into, and that's going to be a big thing that's going to be looking forward to. But I'm actually going to get that computer after I find, later on, my own apartment, which I'm actually planning on starting that process of looking for a pretty much a 2-bedroom apartment in June. And, I know what you're thinking, why a 2-bedroom apartment? Well, one of the things is I want to at least have one, because if you can see right here, I'm doing this in the comfort of my own bedroom, my own personal bedroom. So I actually want one room as an actual bedroom, to sleep, and also if I have any any unexpected guests of the female variety, I can distribute pretty much high quality vitamin D just in that bed alone. So yeah. And the other room, make this a studio. Make one portion of this a studio for the podcast, a studio for the gaming area, for gaming, for games, for video games. Also, another thing is my office for my actual job. As you can see, because if you don't know, I actually work from home now, so I plan on using the computer, getting my own desk and computer for that alone, so that way I have room for other things. And yeah, that's actually what I plan on doing with pretty much my portion of the estate money, is pretty much that. And then also save, and then of course trying to save that money, and actually just, I'm pretty much getting that check is going to be in the mail, probably will be in the mail tomorrow. So first thing I'm going to do is deposit that those checks. Just deposit that check, and then first thing I'm gonna do is pretty much handle my business. I think the first thing I can do is at least start on immediate business and on everything. So that's actually a goal of. So that's what's going on with channel. I want to at least give you guys those details there. I at least wanted to share that information with you guys. I will be doing a lot of. So there's a lot of things I'm going to be doing in the next few months. So will I be doing episodes of the podcast? Absolutely. I won't try to at least have as much of this. There will be episodes of the podcast like normal. And also, I've been doing a lot more of stuff with, on the YouTube side of things. I've been at least doing more regular videos. Especially, if you haven't seen my YouTube channel, I've actually been doing some videos I've been actually doing videos of an anime, quote unquote anime redo of Healer, and which has been a interesting, I'll say this as a show, the nuttiest anime that I've seen that isn't an off-brand. So, and I've seen some off-brand where that's tame, some are tame, and some are tame, some are a little questionable. I've seen this had my mind, which made me just say, what the hell? And others, I'm just like, it's pretty much, but this one is actually a nutty one. And it's actually a great series. And the series is actually a pretty good series. And I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys I say go watch the reactions, my reactions to it. I actually do it like almost every week. The first one video is the first 4 episodes in a actual, like, first 4 episodes are in there together, or did the first 4 episodes in one video. Then I did episode 5, episode 6, and episode 7. And my favorite episodes are so far is the 2nd one and the 6th one, because both of them are probably my favorites, like, no cap, because those 2 have the wildest scenes in that show. And pretty much, let's just say this, think of revenge porn in anime. This is the anime version of revenge porn, like, and it's a crazy show. So I recommend you guys seeing it yourself. I don't recommend watching the show yourself. If you want to, I say this: the unsigned version you gotta find through. You might have to go through sites that probably are pirated. So, but if a pirate's live, it's not for you. The safest way I can recommend is you go to Verve, Crunchyroll, and High Dive, which actually has the censor version, which, honestly, the censor version might be the best thing if you wanna, because it shows a little nutty. It's a nutty thing. Like, I'll at least give you guys a Cliff Notes version. It's a 14-year-old boy who is this healer, who is a healer, and who in his first lifetime he was abused, enslaved, tortured, and pretty much let's just say a certain R word was done to him, and done to him for years, and he ends up finds a way to actually decides to go back in time, and decides to redo everything so he doesn't go through that same shit again. And let's just say this: the people who abused and enslaved him, let's just say, some of them become his slaves now. Let's say some of them become his slaves now. And it's a show that has a lot of stuff in there, and I recommend you guys go see it yourself. I recommend you see the breakdowns myself, because I go for the details, and some of this stuff I don't spare the details, and it's a nutty thing, and it's a nutty show with a lot of, let's just say, a lot of off-brand in there. So, which I will say that somehow it kind of let's just say it, you start thinking of like you want to see the actual plot of the show, and then you pretty much pretty much the way the show is, it just pretty much makes you want to see more of the quote unquote plot, if you catch my drift, and stuff. So yeah, it makes you feel more degenerate as possible. So yeah, so go watch it. So go watch the anime itself, and if you if you don't want to see the anime itself, hey, I don't blame you. You can see my reactions and breakdowns to it. You can find them in the links below. I'm actually gonna make a playlist for you guys so you can see see all the episodes if you want to. The first 4 episodes actually have been broken down into little chapters type of thing, to a little chapter type of thing. So I actually got you guys. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. It's a little long in the teeth. My apologies. I'm trying to at least keep these things down to like 2 hours, to at least 2 hours at least. But stuff like this goes, excuse me, a little longer than normal. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, guys. Feels good to be back. These things. We will be back next week. I'm actually gonna try at least keep it weekly. I'm trying to keep this out every Monday at 12 noon every Monday. That's pretty much my goal. And also when we get, who knows? I'm sorry I don't have like an actual intro or outro or my own fan art, which actually fan art I do want to make eventually. Little thing for podcast, and also videos in the future. So I actually want to work on making something. So I'm gonna keep you guys in on a pipeline on how that goes. Heck, I might make it in it for the next episode. Who knows? So hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like. Share this podcast around to everyone in need of Big J Money, of your boy Big J Money. If you guys got any comments on pretty much your thoughts on a lot of other things, if you guys got any comments, actually I think next week or two, I think the next episode or the episode after that, I'm probably gonna do a Q&A type of thing. No, and if you guys got any questions for me, or anything you want to answer, or anything, or thoughts on anything, leave a comment for me to see. And then don't forget to subscribe, or in this case on SoundCloud, follow for more of me. And the next video will be money. Until then, my friends, goodbye. And good night. Bang!